Welcome back to another Alliance War video. The season has started. This is season 42, and for Loki is taking HC Magneto. They banned iDoom, Omega Sentinel, and Colossus, all global attacker tactics, and Herc and Torch is banned. I'm on path 6 to start in section 1. I used to play in HC Magneto a while ago, and some of the guys that they shut down the Alliance and then they restarted it, so it's good to see them up and running, and I hope these guys do well, but ultimately the goal is to win. And this is path 6, the second node in section 1, and I'm using this as a ramp up for Professor X because I will be taking the boss this war. And basically the plan here is to just parry and combo to build to my special 3 and throw my special 3 to kill him so he doesn't trigger his immortality. And I just don't want to knock him down, so I don't give him any feats of strength. That way I can just parry freely and ideally bait SB2s so he doesn't gain his true sense and he can hit my into my miss. So everything is going rather well. At this point I'm looking at my, my charges are only at 30. I would like to be at 50 when I get to an SB3 so I can manually trigger mind control and then just throw some specials back to back. But ultimately I'm just slow playing it. The plan here is just not to lose too much health and let the infuriates heal me up with willpower and just don't get clipped by a special. Main thing with prowess, build up with Herc, it can hurt. And there, I'm over 50, trigger mind control, so he special lock, throw the SB3, and that's all she wrote. That ended up being rather perfect, right at the 1% mark. So I get a charge there. Next up, we're in. We're taking the mini boss in for 4, 5, 6. This is Fury on the prowess, aggression prowess, and debuff immunity on knockdown. And I'm running mutant boosts at this point because I will be taking the boss. We coordinated with some teammates and drew smoke through the section 2 opening minis and took the right side on many islands so we can kind of sort this out. So the plan here is to parry heavy. Obviously I have a white Magneto pre-fight that Enzo placed for me. Shout out to Enzo for that. And I'm just basically going to parry heavy, and at this point I do something where I hold block to get him to come at me and then I let go and try to parry it. But I'm going to try to bait a heavy to push him to 2 bars, and that way I can bait the SB2 and then kind of just reset. And I'm just building up my charges in the first part of this fight. That's the goal, to get to 100 while pushing, baiting heavy, pushing him to an SB2, and just kind of, have him throw the SB2 and then rinse and repeat. Here he throws the SB1. The reason I don't want to throw the SB1 because if he builds up too much prowess, then it can really hurt through the block. But if I implement the strategy, then I'm going to keep his prowess build up down by doing a 4-hit combo and holding block, as long as he throws his heavy early enough. So here I can push him to an SB2, and I'm like, alright, perfect. I'm going to heavy to get the Fury up and the protection down, and I really want to do some damage at this point. Ideally I want to get the Fury up right before his first life dies, and that way I can push him up right there. Here I messed up actually. I should have just hit into his block to push him over a bar or 2 bars, and then I could have killed his decoy with a heavy, and I would have had a longer Fury. But ultimately I just waited for his decoy to die out and start degenning, and then I can throw my SB3 spam. I have mutant boost on, like I said, and I'm fully boosted, and this is the first time I am taking rank 5 Professor X into any fights. I literally ranked him up in a previous off-season war to test him versus a Korg, and I'm really liking the extra damage. The health is really nice. So all the perks of the R5, combat power rate, all noticeable, so it's a very good rank up. Wasn't sure how much I would use him this season, but there's always a spot for Professor X on the map. It just makes things really, really easy. So here we have Nimrod on path 3, and this is just a Nebula fight. And basically, I'm going to my invulnerability boost fell off. I put that on for the Fury fight. I had all these max deep wounds and mutant genesis for Fury just in case I get clipped. I don't want to bleed out or anything. So here I throw a combat regen just really to carry for this fight and the next one, just to help with chip damage, to help with potions. And since I have them, I never ever use them in war. So this season I'm like, if I don't need a boost and I have one of these combat regens, I'm gonna use it. There I parry heavy just to create some spacing, just while I can build up some amp charges. And the goal is just to hold block. He's actually being really cool and just dashing back while I hold block. And I'm really just trying to get to 10. And at this point, after 10, just hold block as and as soon as he gives me an opening to hit him, I'm gonna take it to hit him. Whether it's hit his block to push him back so I don't get cornered. A lot of people, when they play Nebula, they get cornered because they're holding block and they're taking blocked hits. I don't do that. I want to hold block and then use my my openings to build power, or use like right there, he's holding block, just push him back to his corner. Because if I do want to bait a heavy to get an opening, I don't want to be in my corner for that. So at this point, I'm like, all right, the armor timer has enough time. I'm gonna parry and to my SB2 and double up the shocks, and it's just going to, at this point, I'm just holding blocks to build the M charges, but it'll kill him anyways. Just want it to be safe. So really easy Nebula fight. Just a few things to look for is to not get cornered and to make sure you throw the SB2 when his armor up timer is not going to reset. Now we have a spot in the very next node. This is a Prof X fight. I brought Wags on the team just to give myself a bigger, stronger Wags pre-fight for the boss, really. And since I looked at the map and nobody else needed Wags in certain areas, I was going to use one here. And that is basically to get a longer stun to ramp up quicker. And the goal with Spot, people are really not used to fighting Spot, is just don't hit his block. This is a very easy fight because it's just going to be parry heavy. Right there I tried to dash away to counter him to remove some spots, but I got clipped. But the combat regen is healing me back up, so that's all good. And at this point, I'm maxed at 100 charges. If I really wanted to be safe, I would have done a PS1 boost, and at this point the fight would be over. He's approaching untouchable, but I have vigilance up, so I'm looking at my power and I'm like, okay, I don't need to bait another special. The more power he has, basically, it's going to give me more damage. There I parried and backed off because I thought that one more parry would push me naturally to red, but it didn't, so I did a parry heavy, and at that point the fight was basically over. So I'm at 3 persistent charges, and this fight will give me 4, which is perfect, because I will be taking a mini boss before I take the boss, and that one is node 48, and it's this Abs man, and it's on that Vigilance Falter node. So the main thing here that I need to look at is I'm not going to use my Falter, because if he has Vigilance up, he can hit me. So just treat it as, as a fight where I'm not going to use my Falter to ramp up. I'm going to use a Power Start 1 boost. I'm throwing on an invulnerability boost, SB3 boost, because in case I happen to push him red for whatever reason, at least it'll help. I can tank some of it. So the goal here is to get to 100 charges. I'm using a White Magneto pre-fight to get a longer stun and essentially ramp up to 100, because that's what I need to get to. I need to get to an SB3, and with as many charges as possible. If I'm over 50, and I'm in trouble, I'll manually trigger it and throw it. But you see how it really helps. And when he gets faltered, it actually messes up because I can't parry anymore. So I've taken this node before versus Sassy, and I just throw my heavy in the middle of this combo. He's not going to throw a special at me, so that works. And here I'm at 100. I'm like, boom. He's almost max power. I'm max sig, so that helps my damage overall. And I heavy into my special 3, and Absorbing Man has no resistances versus special 3 attacks, so this is basically just going to nuke him down. And so I throw my first special 3, and it does good damage. At this point, I'm throwing my second one, and I'm like, all right, he's a big boy. He has over 300k health, so this one doesn't kill. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, I thought that would kill, but it did 40% damage. And that's all she wrote for Absorbing Man. So next up, I had a teammate take the Wags on the next node and Mangog on the following node to open me up. Once they did, I went to the middle because they didn't place a champion or defender on 49, and then I placed a White Magneto pre-fight on Kate, my last one. I'm healing up Professor X, you know, to the max, and I put on max recoil for this. I took off mastery points in certain, you know, like the stun debuff and some other, the one that extends your stun, I don't remember, Stupefy. And I put it in health because the chip damage that I'm going to be taking. The plan here basically is to, oh, and I removed all my crit mastery point and precision points. So basically it's the beta heavy, and I'm going to take chip damage, and I'm going to ramp up my charges with baiting a heavy. But if I do crit, I'm going to hit her block to wait out some of the prowess. And there I took an SB1 on the block to see what the chip damage would be, and I'm like, okay, I can dex her SB1, but I wanted to see what it would do. And here I'm getting cornered, so now I'm doing a full combo because I don't want to get cornered. And I take this one on the block, but she has two prowess, and that definitely hurts. So here I'm almost at 100 charges. There I get it, I throw my SB3, and the fight is over. So this was kind of like a test because X is not an attacker tactic, so I wanted to see what the power gain would be if I could limit my crits and then waste time by kind of hitting her block and letting that prowess fall off, so her power gain diminishes. And it kind of worked. I could have done this fight much cleaner. Dexing the SB1s would have been better, but if I do get clipped, then it does more damage than the chip, and I don't need a lot of health to finish this fight, as you see. But ultimately, when the SB3 spam works, it definitely works. So this is a good first you know, war boss of the season to go moving forward. And she is just chipping down. I'm doing about 150k per special. She did have 655,000 health points, which was surprising for a female boss because they're typically low in health. But smooth war for me. My battle group did okay. We also have kind of an opening struggle the first war as we're figuring things out, but it was it's always good to kind of get the juices flowing and the group going. So this war was kind of hectic because it was Wednesday was my fiance's birthday. We went on a trip to Carmel by the Sea, and we were traveling all day Wednesday, and then Thursday morning, the day I had to plan, I was on the road, so it was just very, very difficult. Then I got to my family's. I'm in town for my godson's graduation, and we're planning a huge party. So today's Saturday. This is coming out late, and I have to plan a war in the middle of setting up this party. So it's going to be a mission today. But shout out to Andrew, Karate Mike, and I got an MVP as well. You know, Andrew and Mike killed it this war. Andrew had some input issues, so I feel bad. But shout out to HcMa and GG's, and we'll see you guys in the next one.